Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai. So, dear Bhakti Sastri students, you are welcome to today's class. You are welcome to today's class. So, we started chapter 4, and chapter 4 began with a continuation from chapter 3. Because towards the end of chapter 3, Krishna talked about lust, L-U-S-T. And we want to beware of lust. Because lust does so many things. It is lust that, induces the living entity to act as if against its will. And so many powerful verses are there towards the end, how lust operates. That the lust itself is the eternal enemy, Nitya Varana, of the living entity. And it said, as fire is covered by smoke, and as the mirror is covered by dust, and as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is covered by different degrees of lust. And then we explain that the human being situation is like that of fire covered by smoke. It is lighter. It's more in the mood of goodness. That the situation of the birds and the animals is like that of a mirror covered by dust, thicker. But still, thicker than that is the embryo covered by the womb. Like the tree's situation, a tree. The tree is also a spirit soul in the body of a tree. So the level of density of dullness is very high that you cannot even move around. There is a soul that is been imprisoned there. You can imagine. So it's like the embryo covered by the womb. So these are the different degrees of lust. Then Krishna moved further to explain that this lust is so dangerous, but if you know where your enemy, metaphysical enemy, is hiding, you will know how to strategize to take care of him, or sometimes not only to defend, but sometimes to attack him. If you know his hiding place, you can just bomb the place. Wow! When he's not aware. So Krishna revealed the residential quarters of lust in our body. And he said the senses are 5 working senses, 5 knowledge gathering senses. And they are in the body. They are called Kamendriya, working senses, then Gyanendriya, knowledge gathering senses. They are in the body. So the senses are higher than the body. No, then higher than the senses is the mind. The mind is like the nucleus, is the parlor, where all the senses congregate and do family meeting. Then the intelligence is another residential quarter of this loss. So Krishna revealed these residential quarters of loss in our body so that we can know how to tackle them. We can know when they are trying to influence us, because they influence us through the mind, senses, and intelligence. So he knows, if we know how they operate, we know how to guide ourselves, and we also know how to counterattack strategically. So for that reason, Krishna revealed to us. And then he gave the formula for controlling them, that with the higher self, we should control the lower self. That means with the soul, we control the ego. With the ego, we control the intelligence. With the intelligence, we control the mind. With the mind, we control the senses. So this is the formula. Therefore, the process of controlling the senses and the mind is paramdrisva nivartate, active engagement. You should engage the senses in higher activities. Yes, you cannot stop them from engagements, but you should engage them in higher activities, replacing lower engagements with higher engagements. Instead of eating boga, you eat prasad. Instead of dancing Michael Jackson, you dance Nitai Goranga. Instead of In this way, replacing lower engagement with higher engagement instead of studying scripture books or literature that look like garbage. Literature, reading mundane literature, newspapers, we take that propensity to reading scripture. So in this way, the reading is there constant, but we select what to read. We select what we read. That we should bring our senses out for specific purposes, like the tortoise. So in this way, with the higher senses, with the higher self, we should control the lower self. This is the formula given. And that Krishna concluded that we should, by spiritual strength, we should tackle and conquer this destroyer of self-realization called lust. Then immediately in the chapter 4, Krishna started talking about how he instructed these signs to the sun gods, and the sun god instructed it to his son, and how his son instructed it to mankind, to Manu, the father of mankind. Instructed to Vivasvan to Iswaku to Manu. So the question is, what is the link? What is the connection between the laws we are talking about in chapter 3 to the sun god and his dynasty? So the connection is that Arjuna himself is a descendant from the Sun dynasty. And Vivasvan is a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are administrators. Arjuna is also a Kshatriya. So in other words, the first duty of a Kshatriya or a king or a ruler is to engage the living entities or his subjects in activities that will gradually free them from lust. It should not allow them to engage their senses in sense gratification. It should put mechanisms in place that will enable the citizens to engage in devotional service. So this is the formula. You see the formula? So since it is the duty of the ruler to engage in activities that will free the subject from lust, it is Arjuna's duty also as a Kshatriya to act following the footsteps of Vivasvan, that he spoke this knowledge. He spoke this knowledge to Vivasvan. And Vivasvan instructed it to Iswaku. Iswaku instructed it to Manu. Only in that way, it has come down. But at the time, the association was broken. So he is come to speak it again in order to reestablish that connection. He instructed it again to reestablish that connection. So this is the foundation. And after explaining this, he said, at that time, you were there, but you have forgotten. When I was instructing it to Vivasvan, you, Arjuna, you were there with me, but you have forgotten. So Krishna used take time to explain the difference between the living entity, individual living entity, minute living entity, and the supreme living entity. The supreme living entity knows everything in everybody's body, but the individual living entity only knows something about his own body, and even that he doesn't know very well. So there's a gulf of difference. In terms of eternality, they are both eternal, but the living entity is minutely eternal, and the Supreme Lord is supremely eternal. And why? Because the Supreme Lord maintains the living entity. So he explained. Then when he explained to Arjuna that he was there when he spoke to him and he had forgotten, then Arjuna, Krishna practically brought himself to Arjuna. Because all along, Krishna has not explained deep about his real identity, who he is, who is Krishna. What is the, can you talk about your transcendental birth, appearance, and your activities? He has not talked about them. So by saying that he instructed these signs to Vivasvan, it's an opportunity for Arjuna to ask for the sake of the living entities. Who are you? How is it that you instructed these signs to Vivasvan? Because Vivasvan is by nature older than you. Many, many, many thousands of years older than you. How is it that you have instructed these signs to Vivasvan? This give opportunity, Arjuna is giving opportunity to Krishna to explain about himself, because Naturally, a gentleman will not start explaining himself. I am like this, I am like this, I am like that. It will be like he's proud. But when somebody probes you to speak about yourself, then the opportunity has come. That is the right time to speak about yourself. So Krishna used the opportunity to now reveal himself. So that is it. In the next verse, we are going to read verse 6. Since Arjuna has probed Krishna to reveal about his Janma and Karma, his appearance and activities, Krishna will now start to speak. So here, Krishna will establish more the difference between the individual living entity and him. So he wants to talk about himself, who he is, how he appears, why he appears, when he appears. And if somebody understands the nature of his appearance and activities, what are his benefits? So these next verses are going to explain this to us. First, he wants to talk about himself, his nature as it is different from that of the individual living entity. We are both eternal, but the individual living entities they take material bodies. They are different from their bodies. But Krishna is never embodied. He never take a body, a material body. He comes with his self-same transcendental body. So there is no forgetfulness in Krishna's body, but there is forgetfulness in the individual living entity's body. So all this Krishna is going to explain in the next verse. Now, let's see. Ajopisam Abhyayatma, that is verse 6. 4:6. Ajopisam Abhyayatma Bhutanam Iswaropisam Prakritim Swam Adhistaya Sambhavami Atmamayaya. Somebody should read the translation and purport. Although I am unborn, I read, I am that somebody now. Although I am unborn, let me read, I'm that somebody now. Since you are trying to slow me down, I go ahead and read. So let me read. Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So, purpose. The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many, many past births. Whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it will be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He will surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at the same time one day before. And yet, men often dare claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again, the Lord explains his prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature. As many as Swarup or one own form, the Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body, but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in this material world in his original eternal form with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body. uncontaminated by the material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is Lord of the universe, it still appears that it takes its birth like an ordinary living entity. And although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. But astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the time of the Battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculation. Still, he looked just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age because he never grows old like us, although he's the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future. So you can see that since he has brought himself to Arjuna, saying that he instructed these signs to the sun god millions of years back, that Arjuna was there and it was dead, but he has forgotten. So that gave chance for Arjuna to probe him, to talk about himself. Huh? He said you instructed these signs to the sun gods millions of years ago, but how can you instruct the sun god? The sun god is by nature older than you, many millions of years older than you. How is it that you instructed him these signs? So this gives the opportunity for Krishna to speak about himself. Now here Krishna is speaking about himself, declaring and clarifying it that he comes with his original self-same body. His body is not a body offered by material nature. It is bodies that offered by material nature that undergo changes, birth, old age, disease, and death. And therefore, his own body is different from the bodies of all other living entities. This is what is explaining to Arjuna. You see, our bodies are under the control of material nature, while his body is on internal potency that controls it, but it's Satchidananda. It's eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. So Krishna is not embodied. We are embodied, but Krishna is not embodied. Embodied means eternal spirit soul taking the material body, like a tenant walking into his apartment, his new apartment. The tenant existed before the apartment, is separate from the apartment. He walks into the apartment and uses the apartment. Whenever his rent expires, he leaves that apartment, and according to his ability, he rents another apartment. So that is the individual living entity. But the Lord comes with the self-same body, it's not embodied. He comes with his original transcendental body, but this cannot be understood. This is a mystery. Even Arjuna could not understand that until he started explaining it to him. You see? So there is a difference, a gulf of difference between the individual living entity and the supreme living entity, which is being explained here. And Arjuna has given him the chance to explain it. As a gentleman, he will not ordinarily start explaining about himself and his nature. That when asked, probed by Arjuna, he started to speak about himself. So this verse is about the Lord speaking about his own nature. His nature is that of Satchidananda. His nature is that of Satchidananda because his body is spiritual. He never grows old, never suffers transformation, he never dies. It is never born. But our own body suffers from birth, old age, disease, and death. So there is a gulf of difference. So this is the Lord's explanation now. And continuation. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearance are like the sun's rising, moving before us, and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun is set. And when the sun is before us, before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position, but owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of any ordinary common living entity, it is evident that he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his internal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, is unborn, yet he still appears to take his birth in multi-manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literatures also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. In the Bhagavatam, he appears before his mother as Narayan with 4 hands, and the decorations of the 6 kinds of full opulences. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy bestowed upon the living entities so that they can concentrate on the Supreme Lord as he is, and not on mental concoctions or imaginations, which the impersonalist wrongly thinks the Lord's form to be. The word Maya or Atma Maya refers to the Lord's causeless mercy, according to the Visual Kosa Dictionary. The Lord is conscious of all of his previous appearances and disappearances, but a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he is on this earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same absolute truth and is without determination or without differentiation between his form and self, or between his quality and body. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse. So you get it. So if you're eternal, if the Lord is actually eternal and he never comes, why does he have to appear in this world? Why did the Lord appear in this world? Not only that, the next question is, when does he appear? What are the things that make him to appear? And when he appears, what are the things he does? Then, if one understands the nature of his appearance and activities, what are the benefits? So these 3 questions constitute the next 3 verses. Answers to these 3 questions constitute the next 3 verses. 3 verses. One is telling you when the Lord appears, what happens to prompt him to appear? Or in other words, why did the Lord appear? By extension. When does he appear? Why he appeared? And what were his activities? And if one understands his appearance and activities, what is the result? If somebody understands his appearance and activities in truth, what will be the benefit? So these 3 questions are answered in the next 3 verses. So let us read. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanye bhavati bharata abhyutanam adhamasya tadatmanam srijamiham. Wherever and wherever there is decline in religious practice, that means when does he appear? What prompts him to appear? Whenever and wherever there is decline in religious principles, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. So you can see when the Lord chooses to appear. Yeah, carry on. Purport.
Thank you. Purport. The word Shijami is significant herein. Shijami cannot be used in the sense of creation because, according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternal existence. Therefore, Shi Jami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is, although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of the Dwapar Yoga of the 28th millennium of the 17th Manu in one day of Brahma. He has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations because he is completely free to act in many ways at his will. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and a disappearance of the true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancies in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the law of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as original. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principle of Dharma or religion are the direct order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmastu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, Verse 19. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord. And the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him. And whenever such principles are disturbed by the demonic, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna, who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialistic were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for a particular purpose in the Vedas, people of demonic tendencies still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principle. Lord Buddha appeared to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principle of non-violence. Therefore, each and every avatar or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatar unless he is referred to by scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appeared only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation,
Change your course, change your direction.
he speaks as much about religion and the particular people under the mission. He sent his bona fide representative in the form of his sons or servants or himself in some disgust.
Your network is affected. Not network, your data is affected.
Okay, let me continue.
Hare Krishna, Pranab Priya Mataji. Network demon has arrested your voice. Network demon has arrested. So we are used to it. Isana Prabhu, you can help.
Okay, let me continue, Prabhu.
Yes.
The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and for that matter, to other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 + 2 = 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics in all incarnations of the Lord. Therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begins with the acceptance of the 4 orders and the 4 statuses of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnation is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you can see when the Lord chooses to appear. The Lord chooses to appear in this world whenever and wherever there are discrepancies in religious principles. When demoniac persons take over the rulership of the earth, when religious principles are minimized, when materialism takes control, when people trade community for commodity, when the leaders themselves are blind and they are leading the innocent people into a ditch. Yes, at that time, the Lord chooses to come so that he can change situations. And because he's coming to meet different kinds of people with different kinds of mentality, the Lord himself has designed a system that will accommodate everyone situationally. And that is the basis of the Varna Ashram system. Different people have different mentality. So the 4 social orders are created, then the 4 spiritual orders are also created. So Varnashram system is created by the Lord himself. Okay? Varnashram system is created by the Lord himself to accommodate everyone in the material world, irrespective of your level of consciousness. So that is it. The Lord never leaves the creation alone. He never leaves the creation alone. And religious principles are not enunciated by anybody. No human being can enunciate perfect religious principles. Why? Because every human being has 4 defects. We have the propensity to cheat, we have the propensity to make mistakes, and we have imperfect senses, and we have propensity to be illusioned. Therefore, perfection cannot come from imperfection. So it is only somebody who is fully free from all these imperfections that can enunciate religious principles. And the Lord himself is the one. That's why that's look at the man to Saksha Bhagavad Pranita. Na te vidu risaya na apideva na sidamukia asura manusya utonu vidyadara charananda. Religious principles are not enunciated by the demigods, nor by the great sages or learned brahmanas, nor by the demons. Na te vidu risayo, not the rishis, na apideva, not the demigods. Na Siddha Mukhya, not the perfected beings living in the Siddhaloka. No, they are still within the material world. Then, not the demon. Na Apideva, na Siddha Mukhya, Asura, Manusya, not human beings also. What to talk of the Vidyadharas and the Charanas. So, religious principles are directly enunciated by the Lord himself. That's why the Lord sees that when these principles are violated to the nonsense level, he himself appears to reestablish the principles of religion. You see, so the next verse contains why he appears. Why he appeared. Because so many people come and say they are incarnations of God and they advertise themselves as God, but they grow old and die in the process. So why did the Lord actually come to reestablish the religious principle by himself? It comes when there are discrepancies in religious principles and predominant rise of religion. But why exactly? So the next verse is connected to the previous verse. And when you read it, it becomes clearer. Okay? And we should read it immediately. Why the Lord appear? Paritranaya sadunam, vinasaya chaduskritam, dharma samstapanataya, sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. Even though he's not bound by anything, he's completely independent. He chooses by his independent free will to appear when these situations occur. Yes, when the miscreants are too much, he wants to come and remove them. Then in the process, he will reestablish the principles of religion. And he will give pleasure to his devotees by those activities. At that time, he chooses to appear. So read the purport. It's ongoing again.
Purport. According to Bhagavad Gita, a sadhu, holy man, is a man in Krishna consciousness. A person may appear to be irreligious, but if he has the qualification of Krishna consciousness wholly and fully, he is to be understood to be a sadhu. And do Krishna applies to those who do not care for Krishna consciousness. Such miscreants.
Network demon.
Hello, Prabhu.
And we can hear you.
And do Krishna applies to those who do not care for Krishna consciousness? Such miscreants or do Krishna are described as foolish and the lowest of mankind, even though they may be decorated with mundane education, whereas a person who is 100% engaged in Krishna consciousness is accepted as sadhu. Even though such a person may be neither learned nor well cultured. As far as the artistic are concerned, it is not necessary for the Supreme Lord to appear, as he is to destroy them, as he did with the demons Ravana and Kamsa. The Lord has many agents who are quite competent to vanquish demons. But the Lord especially descends to appease his unalloyed devotees, who are always harassed by the demonic. The demon harasses the devotee, even though the latter may happen to be his kin. Although Prahlad Maharaj was the son of Hiranyakashipu, he was nonetheless persecuted by his father, although Devaki, the mother of Krishna, was the sister of Kamsa, and she and her husband Vasudeva were persecuted only because Krishna was to be born of them. So Lord Krishna appeared preliminary to deliver Devaki rather than kill Kamsa, but both were performed simultaneously. Therefore, it is said here that to deliver the devotee and vanquish the demon miscreants, the Lord appears in different incarnations. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadas Kaviraj, the following verses, Madhya 20 263 to 264 summarize these principles of incarnations. Shakti hiktuye mukti prapangsi avaktara. Say ikshwara mukti avaktara na magdare. Mayatikta pravagyomi sabara avakstamatna. Vikshwe avaktare dare avaktara nama. The avaktara or incarnation of Godhead descend from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of the personality of Godhead who so descend is called an incarnation or avatar. Such incarnation are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God. When they descend to the material creation, they assume the name avatar. There are various kinds of avatars, such as Puru Savaktaras, Gunavaktaras, Lilavaktaras, Shakti Aviksa Avaktaras, Manvantara Avaktaras, and Yuga Avaktaras, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. But Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all avatars. Lord Sri Krishna descend for the specific purpose of mitigating the anxieties of the pure devotees who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavan pastimes. Therefore, the prime purpose of the Krishna avatar is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees. The Lord says that he incarnates himself in every millennium. This indicates that he incarnates also in the age of Kali, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The incarnation in the age of Kali is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who spread the worship of Krishna by the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy names, and spread Krishna consciousness throughout India. He predicted that this culture of Sankirtan would be broadcast all over the world, from town to town and village to village. Lord Chaitanya, as the incarnation of Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is described secretly but not directly in the confidential part of the revealed scriptures, such as the Upanishad, Mahabharata, and Bhagavatam. The devotees of Lord Krishna are very much attracted by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. This avatar of the Lord does not kill the miscreants, but deliver them by his causeless mercy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the incarnations, the way you, you pronounce them, is very strong. Anyway, you should be used to them. Lila Avatar, Guna Avatar, Manvatara. So, Satyabes Avatar. It should be joyfully pronounced. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. We can see that the of all the purposes of the Lord appearance, the main purpose is to give his darshan to his pure devotees. Yes. So come and give pleasure to his pure devotees. That's why he actually comes. Krishna doesn't have so much business trying to kill this demon or that. He can kill the demons from wherever he is, just by willing to do so. But some devotees have served him so purely that he become obliged to giving them his physical darshan. You want them to see him. And for that sake, he appeared. So he said his appearance was to deliver Devaki and Vasudeva rather than killing Kamsa. Killing Kamsa is just a side issue. Okay? So the Lord reciprocates. That's why it's called Bhakti Vasala. He reciprocates the little devotion of his devotees. And for your information, when you come to the temple, you look at the deity is looking at you without blinking his eyes. He's looking at you. Actually, you think that you are the one coming to look at the deity, but it is the deity who is actually looking at you. And he's looking at you not to identify your faults or catch you for your mistakes. No. He's looking to see the little devotion you are doing. He's looking to appreciate the little devotion that you have. Then he found out the fire of devotion through that spark. He look at the spark of devotion you have. So always present yourself before the Lord. The Lord, he knows so, but when you present yourself in his presence, he look at your devotion, the little devotion you have, and he finds it. He doesn't see your faults. He only see the little services you have done, and he will raise it from there. Can you imagine this person, Putana? Putana endeavored to kill Krishna, but because he had some motherly affections, he come in the form of a mother to give him breast. By that attempt alone, Krishna gave her the position of a nurse in the spiritual world. You can imagine. Ahubakiyam sanakala kutam jigan sayasad papa api asadu. Is an asadu. Asadu is not a devotee. It's not a sadhu. Putana was not a sadhu. She was a sword in a decorated case. She came disguised as a devotee, but she was a sword in a decorated case. Her intention was completely different. Yet, Krishna looked at the little spark. She wanted to act as a mother. So for that, she shook her breast and he sent her to the spiritual world as a nurse. Lebegatim datri, uchitam tatoyam kamba dayalum saranam brajema. So that is it. So if Putana can attain such to kill Krishna, we are trying to glorify Krishna, we are offering obeisances. You can imagine our position. Krishna will just raise us and raise us and raise us and raise us. We have hope. His liberating Putana give us hope. So this is it. The reason why Krishna come is to actually give pleasure to his devotees or to give them the opportunity to have his darshan. That's why Krishna actually came. And along the line, as a matter of side issues, he eliminated this demon, that demon, established religious principles in the process, replaced the miscreants with devotees. He did all that. Then, if that is the case, these things are not easily understood by people in general, unless you are not a devotee. They see mellow in whatever action the Lord takes. So while the personalists are getting more and more bewildered by his janma and karma, his appearance and activities, the devotees know the truth of who Krishna is by the mercy of Krishna and his pure devotees. So you can see the difference. There is a great gulf of difference between the situation of the devotees and the non-devotees as a matter of seeing Krishna. So the next question is,
pick that small this thing for that.
The
boy don't come.
But you just come and you are making noise.
That this thing don't spoil.
Mute. But Elvis, mute. Mute. Dr. Elvis. Dr. Elvis, mute. Okay, you are muted. So the next question is, those who are able to understand the Lord's appearance and activities, not superficially, but in truth, what will be their reward? What will be the benefit for understanding the Lord's appearance and activities? The Lord's Janma and Karma. What is the benefit? Waiting for those who can understand him. And what was the benefit for those who understood him and his activities in truth? So that is the next verse. The Lord himself will define clearly what will be the benefit of understanding him in truth. And don't mind you, the Lord cannot be understood by intellectual endeavors. It can only be understood by devotion, by bhakti, by service, and he will reveal himself. So let us see. A lot is there in the purpose, but we are not going to go into details, but we are giving the general idea of how these things are related. The Lord talked about himself, then he talked about when he chooses to come to this material world. Then he talked about why he comes. Then he will now talk about the benefits waiting for those who are able to understand his appearance and activities. This is the next verse. Verse 9. Today we are not going to go too far. We have a desire to stop at verse 11. We are already in 9. So, Janma Kama Chame Divyam Evam Yo Vetita Twataha Tiatwa De Puna Janma Naintima Metiso Juna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, takes his birth again in this material world, but attain my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Purushotama Yatra Prabhu, you can read. Purport. Or Balabhadra Prabhu. Or Bhakta Elvis.
Purpose. The Lord descends from his transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. One who can understand the truth of the appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage. Therefore, he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present body. That liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord, is only partial, and there is the risk of returning to this material world. But a devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the Lord and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body and does not run the risk of returning to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita 533, it is stated that the Lord has many forms and incarnations. Advaitam Achyutam Anandimananta Rupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, they are still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to understand this fact with conviction. Although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers. As stated in the Vedas, Purusa Podini Upanishad, Eko Devo Nitya Lilanurato Praktavyapi Hriday Anta Atma. The one Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many transcendental forms in relationship with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts these truths on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculations, attains the highest professional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting these truths on faith, one can, without a doubt, attain liberation. The Vedic version, Tat Twam Asi, is actually applied in this case. Anyone who understands the Lord Krishna to be the Supreme, and who says unto the Lord, You are the same Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, is certainly liberated instantly, and consequently his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertions. Tam evam vidituate metum eti, nanya panta vidyate yanaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there is no other way to achieve this perfection. That there is no alternative means that anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance, and consequently, he will not attain salvation simply, so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection. Hare Krishna.
So thank you very much. Can you understand it now? That there's a difference between Western epistemology and Eastern epistemology. The way we understand things, that is epistemology. That in the Western epistemology, people try to see God through their own intellectual microscope. But in the Vedic or Western Eastern epistemology, people surrender to God and they try to see God through God's microscope. That means through revelation. They perform austerity, they control the senses, they practice humility, simplicity, honesty, sincerity, knowing that the person they are trying to understand is beyond them, is beyond their intellectual ability. So they surrender to Him. They lie down, offer obeisances to Him. Oh Lord, we cannot understand you. Please reveal yourself to me. Then the Lord now reveals Himself to them. And when one becomes very sincere, the Lord in the heart of everybody will send His representatives to meet them, such a person. Then He begins to teach him how to come to the Lord. He will tell him about the Lord, how to come to the Lord, what happens in the spiritual world, how to live in the kingdom of God, how to attract the attention of God. Then he begins to follow. Then he attains. But the Westerners, those who are following the Western empirical approach, they try to understand God by their intellectual abilities. And actually they cannot, because God is a tutor. Is infallible and is inconceivable. So we cannot confine Him within our limited intelligence. So this is why they cannot understand God, but the devotee can understand God by humbling themselves, surrendering to the Lord, taking the mercy of the pure devotees. Then they will guide them gradually to cultivate their faith. Just accept that, oh Lord, you are the supreme, you are inconceivable. I offer my obeisance. Just by that one singular move, one is able to is already on the path of knowing God. And that's why in the purport, it is clearly stated that anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the supreme, or who says unto the Lord, you are the same supreme Brahman, the personality of God, is certainly liberated instantly. And consequently, his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion. So that is it. All those who offer obeisance to the Lord, who humble themselves, who accept the Lord as inconceivable, they are already on the path of seeing the Lord. Their faith shall see them through. And this faith is actually developed by association with devotees. Then they begin to chant the holy name. They begin to talk about the Lord's pastime. And from there, their faith will increase. And eventually, shed all kinds of impurities. And by that purification, they come closer with fixed faith until they begin to experience the Lord. This is how it happens. But the mundane wranglers, those who depend on their intellectual ability to understand God, they cannot, even after thousands and thousands of years of speculation. And if they speculate for so many years and they are so austere, the highest thing they can attain is partial liberation. They merge into the Brahma effulgence. After they fall down from there, come and start all over again. But a devotee is secured. So it is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And we say once again, the devotee has already found the root, is watering the root by the guidance of the spiritual master. All the devotional activities we are doing, we are watering the root of the tree of life, as Krishna, by the mercy of the devotees. We are just exposed to watering the root. As soon as you come to the temple, they start engaging you in devotional services. But the personalists and those empiric philosophers are still looking for the root. The devotee is already there watering the root. After many, many thousands and millions of years of searching for the root, they eventually arrive there, they meet the devotees watering the root. Then the devotees begin to teach them how to water the root. They become gurus. The Bhaktas, Krishna Bhaktas, they become gurus to empiric philosophers who have taken many, many lifetimes. When they get there, the Bhaktas are already there. They tell them what to do, the ABCs of how to do devotional service. So it's a very glorious process we are in. We cannot understand Krishna pastimes and activities unless we surrender to the Lord and we surrender to the guidance of welcome, latecomer. Oyeka God, Jehovah. Even Ragupati come earlier than you.
You got what you talk without well touch me. He said the devotees will be the one to be teaching all those who went on really perform mystic.
Yes.
So
yes.
Is it by the grace of our past devotional service that we discover the root on time? Whereas some people are performing mystic, doing more things for Krishna more than us.
It's by the grace of the Lord and his devotees, Sankirtan devotees. And also on your part, also some pious credits. You have served devotees either directly or indirectly. So in this lifetime, when you see them and they come with books, you accept the book and you become interested. And by their mercy, combined mercy of your previous pious deeds and the mercy of the devotees, you are already watering the root. So if a professor from Unibend or Unilag come now, you will be the one to teach him how to chant. You will be the one to chant, teach him how to chant the Maha Mantra. Say, hold the beat like this. Start from here. When you get to the end, don't cross. You come back again to the other end. This is 108. Then this 108 means 108 gopis, primary gopis. Say, what is gopis? Professor is asking you a question. Professor is asking you, why did you put your bead inside the bag? You start telling him these are sacred items, they don't need to touch the ground. And you'll be teaching the professors. Then you now tell professor to go and wash plates. You show him where the sponge is, or you engage him in mopping the temple room. You say, look, oh, here, your material qualifications are not recognized. So you drop them at the gate before you enter. A lawyer with his tie, you tell him to drop his lawyer profession at the gate. Come as a Bhakta. Now you are a Bhakta. Sit on the floor immediately and listen to Balabhadra preach philosophy to you. At last, you become very satisfied.
That's true.
So
That's really happened. No.
this is the glory of devotees. Yeah, devotees are very glorious. You see, by the mercy of pure devotees, by the mercy of Krishna, they are there. They can understand what devotional service is. So while they are engaged in doing devotional service every day, professors are still looking, studying chemistry, studying this, studying atoms, studying elements, without knowing their real identity, who they are. So our path is very glorious. We are at the end. We have entered the elevator, we are at the end, waiting for them. So we should take it very seriously. We should take it very seriously. And more qualification and attainment of love, more qualification on how to attain that love for Krishna is given in the next verse. There are certain things you need to have, because earlier Krishna told Arjuna that I am telling you this, I'm revealing this secret. This is a rahasya. Rahasya means a secret. Secret means not everybody knows it. It's a fact, but not everybody knows it. So it's a secret that you are knowing this. I'm explaining this to you because you have this qualification. You are a friend. And you are not envious. These are the qualifications you have that is making you to explain, reveal this confidential secret to you. It is kept secret because the envious cannot understand it. And those who are not friendly to devotees, they can't understand it. But you are a friend. So unless you have those qualifications of being a friend and a devotee, you cannot understand Krishna's Janma and Karma, his transcendental appearance and his activities and pastimes. You cannot understand. So let us see more qualification needed for one to develop transcendental love, because coming in contact with the devotees is the beginning. But you need to shed off all kinds of layers of illusion in order to eventually arrive. So these are some of the layers that you should remove. They are revealed there. You should endeavor to constantly avoid certain things while you are doing devotional service. Now, Vitaragabaya Kruda Manmaya Mamupasrita Bahavo Gyanata Pasa Putaman Baba Agata. Be freed from attachment. Attachment is one of the things you should be free from. Be free from attachment. Fear. You should become free from fear and anger. Being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me. And thus they all attained transcendental love for me. So the formula that has been given, that has been time tested, is the same formula that is given to you. Many, many people in the past, not ordinary people, many, many souls who are purified, fortunate souls in the past, they follow this process and they attained your love for him. So if you follow the process, you will also attain. And this is the mercy of the pure devotees. To the pure devotees, the ocean of material existence is reduced to like water contained in the hoof of a calf. When the cow, baby cow, put his leg on the mud, the small water comes out of it. You can easily cross it. Then the whole material existence is reduced to that size of water. And the boats to cross it, the pure devotees, they cross through the boat and they never remove the boat. The boat is still left there because they are very merciful, so that anybody who gets there can also cross through that boat. This is the process. Okay? This is the process. Left the process. It's also revealing that yes, many people in the past followed this process. They gave up, they became free from attachment, fear, and anger. That means we have to endeavor individually to give up material attachment. We should endeavor to become free from fear, anger, and also become fully absorbed in the refuge of Krishna. Once you have a strong determination to carry out devotional service, automatically you become free from all these things. Automatically. You see, there are many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained something lawful. So, read the purpose. Oyeka God or Madhava Murari Prabhu.
Purpose. Chapter 10.
I'm in transit.
Text 10. As I described above, it's very difficult for a person who is too materially affected to understand the personal nature of the supreme absolute truth.
Louder.
Generally, people who are attached to the bodily conception of life are so absorbed in meditation that it is impossible for them to understand how the supreme can be a person. Such materialists cannot even imagine that there is a transcendental body who is imperishable, full of knowledge, and internally blissful. In the materialistic concepts, the body is perishable, full of ignorance, and completely miserable. Therefore, people in general keep this same body idea in their mind when they are informed of the personal form of God. For such materialistic men, the form of the gigantic material manifestation is supreme. Consequently, they consider the supreme to be impersonal, and because they are true.
Chapter 4, verse 10. Carry on. Carry on. Okay. Chapter 4, verse 10. Carry on. Keep on.
And because they are too materially absorbed, the occupation of retaining the personality after liberation from material frighten them. When they are informed, the spiritual life is also individual and personal. They become afraid of becoming person again. And so they naturally prefer a kind of merging into the impersonal void. Generally, they compare the living entities to the bubbles of the ocean, which merge into the ocean. That is the highest perfection of spiritual existence, attainable.
Network demon has arrested your voice. So. His great Balabadra's voice has been arrested by network.
Something's happening. Okay, Babu, you can carry.
We can hear you now.
Somebody can carry on now. Somebody.
Okay. Somebody should carry on because his voice is cracking. Somebody can carry on. His voice is cracking. Generally, they compare the living entity to bubbles of the ocean, which merge into the ocean. That is the highest perfection of spiritual existence attainable without individual personality. This is a kind of fearful stage of life, devoid of perfect knowledge of spiritual existence. Furthermore, there are many persons who cannot understand spiritual existence at all, being embarrassed by so many theories and by contradictions of various types of philosophical speculation. They become disgusted or angry and foolishly conclude that there is no supreme cause and that everything is ultimately void. Such people are in a diseased condition of life. Some people are too materially attached and therefore do not give attention to spiritual life. Some of them want to merge into the supreme spiritual cause, and some of them disbelieve in everything, being angry at all sorts of spiritual speculations out of hopelessness. This last class of men takes to the shelter of some kind of intoxication, and their effective hallucinations are sometimes accepted as spiritual vision. One has to get rid of all three stages of attachment to the material world. Negligence of spiritual life, that is one stage. Fear of spiritual personal identity, that is second stage. And the conception of void that arise from frustration in life. This is the third stage. So if we ask you about these three stages of materialism or material attachment, you should be able to know them. One stage is negligence of spiritual life. The second stage is fear of spiritual personal identity. And the third stage is the concept of void that arises from frustration in life. To get free from these three stages of the material concept of life, one has to take complete shelter of the Lord, guided by the bona fide spiritual master, and follow the descriptions and regulated principles of devotional life. The last stage of the devotional life is called ahava, or transcendental love of God. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:4-15-16, the science of devotional service. Adaus Prada Tataha Sadhu Sango Tabajanakriya Tato Ananta Nivriti Syat Tato Nista Rutis Tataha Atashaktis Tato Bhavas Tataha Primabhya Dalchati Sadakanam Ayam Premna Pradurbhave Bhavet Kramama. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master, and under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all the material attachments, attains steadiness in life, in self-realization, and acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute. personality of God, that is Sri Krishna. This taste leads one further towards attachment for Krishna consciousness, which is matured in Bhava, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love of God. Real love of God is called Prema, the highest professional stage of life. In the Prema stage, there is constant engagement in the transcendental service of the Lord. So, by the slow process of devotional service, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, one can attain the highest stage, being free from all material attachments, from the fearfulness of one's individual spiritual personality, and from the frustration that results in void philosophy. Then one can ultimately attain to the abode of the Supreme Lord. So the stages of devotional service are here, and that actually attachment is what is keeping us here mainly. Attachment is what is keeping us here mainly, and there are three levels of attachment. The attachment has manifested in threefold, and we read about them. Can somebody remember the three stages of attachment that we just read?
Negligence of spiritual life,
Negligence of spiritual life.
Fear of spiritual personal identity, and the occupation avoid the from the frustration in
the conception of void that arises from frustration. These are the three stages of attachment. This is what has spread to bind the living entity to this material world. And to free oneself from these three stages of material concept of life, one has to take complete shelter of the Lord, guided by the bona fide spiritual master. Okay? And when one begins the process of devotional service, it doesn't matter who the person is, whether the person is an American, the person is an Indian, the person is a dwarf, and the person is an Australian. There are 9 stages of development of love of God. These 9 stages begin with association with devotees. Adaus Radha Tata Sadhu Sange. Yes. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with devotees. You have a desire for some higher understanding about life. This will bring you in contact with the devotees. When you come in contact with the devotees, you start associating with devotees. Then you begin to develop faith. That's why we say faith is developed in the association of devotees. And in that state, one becomes initiated. Because when faith is developed in the association of devotees, you begin to chant the holy names. Then there is a initiation by the spiritual master who is elevated, and under his instructions, you begin to render devotional service. And by that service, under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from material attachment. And he attains steadiness in self-realization and acquires a taste for hearing about Krishna, his pastimes, his activities, and everything concerning Krishna. He wants to hear. He develops strong attachment, hearing Krishna, Lila, Guna, and pastimes. This taste will lead him further to attachment to Krishna, which is matured in Bhava. And Baba, which is the preliminary stage of love of Godhead, we also intensify into Prema. So anyone, irrespective of your background, once you begin devotional service, in your process of advancement, you pass through these stages until finally you attain Prema. So we should endeavor to become free from attachment, fear, anger. And you can only get that freedom by associating with devotees, so, which will lead you to all the next stages. So that is it. On this note, we'll come to the next verse. We can read it because there are different people are on different stages. Everybody is on his own stage. And that is why to carry everyone along, Krishna created the Varnashram system. Varnashram system is the four spiritual orders and the four social orders. Everybody is classified into them. And if you are functioning within the protection of the Varnashram system, it's like those people used to cross, they walk on rope, in the high mountainous area, moving from sometimes they used to go for entertainment or recreation. There are some parks like Buri and other places. There is a rope on top there, and you have to cross this ocean. In this case, it's an ocean of material existence. On this side, the rope is anchored into a tree here. On the other end, it is anchored into the tree, and you have to cross. You have to cross through that rope from this end to that end. Any little mistake, you will just fall into the ocean. Boom. Then you are given a small stick. A stick, you can use the stick to balance yourself. You manipulate, you can balance yourself. And that is the Varna and the Ashram. The stick for you to balance yourself is the Varna and the Ashram. And also for you not to crash completely, there is a safety net under. If you crash, the net will catch you. If you fall from the tiny rope and crossing the ocean, you see big ocean under, and you're on top of it. Even by seeing the ocean alone, you can lose focus and you fall inside. But you are holding a stick. You can use the stick to make like this, and you are able to balance yourself. If you are able to balance yourself, you might not fall. But those who are experts, they use the stick. So those who have attained, steady devotional service, they can run across this rope. They can somersault. They can play on the rope, one tiny rope. They can somersault and turn back on the rope and move with speed and stop suddenly. They can do many things on the rope, but they will never fall. Those are the pure devotees. They will never fall. They can jump and they will come and still stand on the rope. But you who is practicing how to walk on the rope, you need that stick, and that safety net is under for you. So in case you fall, the net will catch you. That net is the Varnashram system. The Varnashram system. The stick is also part of the whole system to safeguard you from falling directly into the ocean of nescience. Because there are crocodiles there, there are timingila fishes, there are whales, there are sea pythons, there are sea monsters. You are walking across them on a tiny rope. If you fall in there, even before you reach land, they will dive you. Dive you and just with style enter back into the ocean. And that is the end of it all. They will dive you. You can imagine. It's not a small ocean, no. The ocean is wide, like from here to Lagos to Accra.
Hey,
You are walking on top of it. But luckily, Krishna has put a safety net under from Lagos to Accra. There's a safety net. So if you are falling and you're going, the net will catch you. You will not reach the water. And that net is the financial system. If you function outside of the financial system, you will definitely fall in. And you will not reach ground.
But when you fall inside the net, what will happen? Then you like to try to climb the rope back.
You will not reach if you fall inside the net. Okay, if you fall inside the net, you try to climb back now. There are some provision for you to still climb back if you fall inside the net. But if you fall outside the net, no protection from the financial system, you are finished. Even you will see crocodile flying. Flying crocodile fly from the water, from the ocean, and come and catch you and dive back inside. You see, you will see sharks that are flying. Timingila, they catch you, they dive you like a goalkeeper.
Wow.
They will dive you like or Emmanuel Okala of those days. Just dive there. They will catch you on somersault like that. And you are gone. Nobody will see you again. So the Lord has made this provision. The national system is his arrangement to safeguard the people who have started this process from falling into the ocean directly. That when they fall there, they can endeavor to come up. But the pure devotees are running up and down this rope, crossing to Accra, coming back to this side, coming to pick some people living. It is that endeavor that the Prabhupada made to come and pick all of us, one by one.
Checking
and
the room.
Who are also running up and down. This is how beautiful it is. Devotional service is very beautiful. We are protected by the Paramparam. We are protected by the 9 processes of Bhakti. We are protected by the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are protected by Srimad Bhagavatam. We are protected by all the 9 processes of Bhakti. See, you are protected by Prasadam. Everything is offering protection.
By trusting.
See how fortunate we are? So if despite that you can't take advantage, then you are considered very, very unfortunate. And that's why Lord Chaitanya lamented, said, do thy farm it Sam Anuraga. We are so unfortunate that we have no attraction for all the provisions he made. And we are crying that we are suffering. We want to be free from suffering. And we are refusing to take to the medicine also. That medicine, we are refusing to take it, the chanting of the holy name. We don't take it serious. We think we can do all other things and be happy. And when everything fails, that's when we want to go and try the holy name, whether it will work or not. That even the holy name will not accept us. Anything. You they said this one a liability. When you were young, where were you? They will ask you that question. Where were you? Where did you spend your energy? Go and finish up there. So let us read the translation and purport to this one, and we can stop here today. Ye yatamam prapadyante tansataiva bhajamiyam mama bhatmanu bhartante manusya partasavasa. Somebody should read the translation and the purport. Okay, it's like
okay. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respect, O son of Pritha. Purport. Everyone is searching for Krishna in different aspects of his manifestations. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence, and as all-pervading super soul dwelling within everything, including the particles of atoms. But Krishna is realized only by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotee wants him. One devotee may want Krishna as Supreme Master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally, according to their different intensities of love for him. In the material world, same reciprocation of feelings are there, and they are equally exchanged by the Lord with the different types of worshippers. The pure devotees, both here and in the transcendental abode, associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord, and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. As for those who are impersonalists, and who want to commit spiritual suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity, Krishna helps also by absorbing them into his effulgence. Such impersonalists do not agree to accept the eternal, blissful personality of Godhead. Consequently, they cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to the Lord. Having extinguished their individuality, some of them who are not firmly situated even in the impersonal existence return to this material field to exhibit their dormant desire for activities. They are not admitted into the spiritual planets, but they are again given a chance to act on the material planet. For those who are fruitive workers, the Lord awards the desired result of their prescribed duties as the Yageshwara, and those who are yogis seeking mystic powers are awarded such powers. In other words, everyone is dependent for success upon his mercy alone, and all kinds of spiritual processes are success upon his. Okay, but different degrees of success on the same path. Unless, therefore, one comes to the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, all attempts remain imperfect, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2, Canto 2, Chapter 3, verse 10. Akama sarva kamoba moksha kama uddarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one is without desires, into brackets, the condition of the devotees, or is desirous of any fruitive result, or is after liberation, one should with all effort try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for complete perfection, culmination in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, culminating in Krishna consciousness. Culminating in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. So you've seen it. Ye yataman propajante tam sutaiva bhajameham. Mama vatmanu vartante manushya parta sarvasa. Everyone follows his path. Everyone follows his path. It is Krishna that fulfills everyone's desires. So whether you have desires, material desires, you have no material desires, and if you are a transcendentalist and you are a pure devotee, you don't have any material desire at all, you are satisfied by dint of your being a devotee, you should still approach Krishna. Because it's Krishna that fulfills everyone's desire. That's why karma and jnana are also meaningless without a tinge of bhakti. So it is bhakti service to the Lord that crowns everything, that fulfills everything. So it is the same Krishna who will fulfill everybody's desire because it's the super soul, the Lord in everyone's desire, whether they know it or not. Therefore, in all circumstances, once you chant the holy name of the Lord, once you depend on the Lord for the fulfillment of his desires, material or spiritual. Akama sarvaka muba musakama udara. Tibrina bhakti yogana yajita purusa. So whatever stage you are in, Krishna is there for you, just waiting for you to turn, look at him, then he will reciprocate. So in any circumstance, let us make Krishna conscious. If you are a devotee, you have any desire, Krishna will still fulfill your desire for you. If you are desireless, he will also treat you accordingly, relate to you accordingly. And if you think that material acquisitions will entangle you, he will not give you also. It's out of love, reciprocating to your consciousness. So everything depends on. Therefore, each and every one of us must develop service attitudes. And it is that service attitude that Krishna is reciprocating to. Not even the service itself, just the service attitudes. And if you have a service attitude, if you know that you are subordinate to a supreme person who is maintaining you, that you want to please that person, whatever ability you have, you engage it in the devotional service of the Lord, and the Lord will reciprocate and take you on from there. This is a practical process. It is available for everyone. It is left for us to take to reach and experience it. Hare Krishna. Are there some questions that we can end the class? We want to appreciate all of you for your endeavor. And we are taking note of when people come in. Those who came in late, they are still welcome. Those who came early, thank you. Those who come last, say thank you. Those who don't come at all, so thank you. And those who came earlier and left early also, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We meet tomorrow also at the same time tomorrow to continue from where we stop. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And for your information, once it's time, we are starting. So if you are choosing to be coming late, you will always come and you will miss the main thing or the beginning. Anyway, just to be merciful a little bit again, yesterday or in our last class, not yesterday, in our last class, we tried to see the link between chapter 3 and chapter 4. And the link is that Arjuna, Krishna was speaking about lust. He was cautioning Arjuna to beware of lust towards the end of chapter 3. And lust is our eternal enemy. And it's only lust that influences us to do things against our wish. And Krishna actually revealed to us where lust is hiding in our body. The mind, intelligence, and the senses are the sitting places of lust. And that with the higher self, we should control the lower self. And with spiritual strength, we should conquer this great symbol of sin called lust. Then, beginning with chapter 4, Krishna started talking about how he imparted this knowledge to the sun god. So the question arose, what is the relationship between this chapter and the sun god? Suddenly you are talking about loss, and now you are talking about sun god. What is the relationship? Then it comes to reveal that actually first Arjuna also belonged to the sun god dynasty. And here is Arjuna, who is a Kshatriya. The sun god is also a Kshatriya. Now the Kshatriyas are the protectors of the citizens. And the protectors of the citizens, the main protection they give to the citizens is to protect them from loss by engaging the subjects in the activities that will benefit them the most. So by that, it is the duty of Arjuna also to protect the citizens, just like it was the duty of the sun god. He has to help the citizens to curb loss, by proper engagement. So that is where it started. Then Krishna continued to talk, and he told Arjuna his level, and Arjuna said, you are saying you instructed these signs to the sun god millions of years ago, but the sun god is older than you. How is it possible that you explain these signs to him? Then Krishna used the opportunity to explain to him that, yes, I brought myself for you. You catch me. All along, I've not been talking about myself, but now, since I brought myself, you have probed me, I will talk about myself. So this is my nature. Actually, I'm unborn. I'm eternal like every other living entity, but my body is not made of material elements. Everyone else's body is made of material elements. So their body is born, their body dies. And the end of one body is the beginning of another body. But my own body never changes because it's eternal body. And that is why I remember everything. Everything I did, hundreds and thousands of lifetimes, all my incarnation, I remember everything. But you forget because you change body. So that is the difference. You say, is that so? If that is the case, then when do you appear? Because this appearance is so wonderful. What are the things that make you to appear? When do you appear? You say, whenever and wherever there are discrepancies in religious principles and the predominant rights of religion, at that time I appear. Then, but why do you appear? I appear to annihilate the miscreants, reestablish the principle of religion, and give pleasure to my devotees. Then they explain that actually the demons you can kill, religious principle you can rectify anytime, but his main purpose of appearance is to give darshan to the devotees who have been meditating on him for a long time. That is why he appeared. Say, is that so? Then that is wonderful. If somebody understands the nature of your appearance and activities, what will be the benefits? He says, such person, Jama Kama Shamebi Jam, even you visit Tatwata. Tatwa de Hapuna Janma, 90 Mahametiswa. If those who understand these activities and appearance in truth, not superficially, they such a person, he will not take birth again in this material world. He will go to my own eternal abode. Then he also further explained how we should become free from attachment. The attachment are varieties of phases. And he explained the 3 levels of attachment. Then he connected fear and anger as things that we should also avoid if we want to be eternally situated. And this is where we are. And he said that everybody is on my path, but as you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. So I've designed the Vanashram system in such a way that if you're a Sudra, you have a way to connect by doing your Sudra activities perfectly. If you're a Vaishya, there are boundaries, activity boundaries for you. You act within the confines of your rules and regulations, you will be gradually elevated. And we use the analogy of a rope crossing the ocean of material existence, and the individual living entity is made to cross through that ocean, to walk across the ocean on top of that tiny rope that Krishna has put a safety net under. And that safety net is the Vanashram and the rules and regulations that accompany it. Then the stick is given to you also to help you to maintain balance. It's still the same Vanashram system. That those who fall outside of who are outside of the Vanashram, who want to act outside of the Vanashram, who ignore the rules and regulations therein, they only suffer because they will fall into the ocean. And the Timingila fishes, the sharks, we just make a feast of him. So it is best to remain loyal, endeavor in Krishna consciousness, and be protected by Krishna's arrangement. So this is where we stop for now. And when we come, we talk more about some details, some very sweet things. And we see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're starting from verse 12.
One question.
Question or commentary? Sharp.
Concerning the appearance and disappearance of the Lord, what are you mentioned about the factor one should foresee, want to understand? You say how, why, when, and the purpose. Not 4 factors. Why, how you appear, why, and when, and the reason for purpose. Then 4 factors.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you get there now.
Okay.
When you appear when there are discrepancies in religious principles and the predominant rights of a religion. And why did he appear? He appeared to protect the devotees mainly. His Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinasa Sadhusna to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to establish the principles of religion. That's why he appeared.
A question can be asked. The Lord can stay his able and protect the devotee. What are the other things?
Yes, that's why it is said that the Lord actually come to give darshan to his devotees who have been performing devotional service for so long. They want to see him, they want to relate with him. So he fulfilled their desire by coming personally so that they can see him. So that's why he said that he came to protect Devaki and Vasudeva rather than coming to kill Kamsa, because he can kill Kamsa from wherever he is. But he wanted Devaki and Vasudeva to see him and take care of him and serve him as parents, because they have been desiring that for long. So in this way, these guys, the primary reason is to come and give pleasure to his devotees. Then the secondary reasons are just to kill demons, to bewilder those who don't want to surrender more. Only devotees know his actual intention of coming. If you become a devotee, you will enter into the confidential pastimes of the Lord. You will truly understand the lila and the guna and the karma and the janma, his appearance and his activities and pastimes. You will understand them. Then you're going back to God, that is guaranteed. You will enjoy yourself here, then you go back to God in the end. Win-win. So if you become a devotee, it's a win-win situation. You first enjoy yourself here, living transcendentally like a lotus flower that is in the water but is not touched by the water. You are in the world but not of the world. Your activities do not attract sinful reactions. So you are acting transcendentally. You are learning the science of Niskama Kama Yoga. You are acting as you are offering the result to the Lord. You are acting as if you are doing the same thing with the people, but the result you are offering it to the Lord. You learn the art and science of doing work. You are doing work, you are doing Kama Yoga, but Krishna takes the Kama and give you the yoga. He takes the Kama and he give you the yoga. He takes the Kama and give you the yoga. There's enjoyment between you and the Lord. Reciprocal enjoyment. He will take the whole Kama, absorb it, and he give you the yoga. So he's just elevating you, pushing you up, pushing you up, pushing you up, until you attain pure Bhagavad Niskama Kama Yoga, Bhagavad Arpita, Niskama Kama Yoga. That activity that will never bring any reaction to you at all. You are acting, but you are completely immune. But the point is, if you become a devotee before you are acting, that is the beginning of devotional practice. Bhakti means first you surrender, then you are now doing activity. But below Bhakti means you are doing activities and you are surrendering part of the result of your activities. You are acting with detachment. You are acting, you are attached to your work. You never give up your work. You are attached to the work. You are doing the work, but you are detached from the result. And you are giving someone the result to Krishna, but you are attached to the work. But the time will come when you become detached from the work also. and you become detached from any result. You be only acting as a matter of showing by example. Then you at that time you are a devotee. Any activity you do is devotional service. Even you are sweeping the floor is devotional service. You are washing the plate is high devotional service because you are surrendered first before you are doing it. So those activities you do after surrendering to Krishna, they are all devotional service, bhakti. They are higher than all other meditation, this and that. You see? But when action is done with detachment and knowledge is added to it, and meditation is added to it, and devotion is added to it, you have become a Bhakti yogi. Your Bhakti yoga begins. You see? So keep on doing it. You already know Krishna, you have accepted Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. So anything you are doing now is plus, 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 plus. No minus again.
Guranga.
Keep on doing it. And you'll be going on and on and on and on, forward, 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 till you see Krishna face to face. Say, hey, Krishna, now you be this. I catch you today. Krishna say, you can't catch me. Hare Krishna. Okay. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Enjoy yourself. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai.
Bye. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Madhava Prabhu. Isana
Jai Jai.
Guranga Prabhu. Prabhu. Raghupati Prabhu. Balabhadra Prabhu. Hare Krishna.